I won't stop until my child is inside you, the man said, his voice cold and absolute. Every night, every morning until your body gives me what I paid for. You have 6 months. If you're not pregnant by then, your family in Lagos will suffer for it. Anima Bello stood frozen in the glass-walled bedroom, her hands shaking as rain lashed against the windows of the Seoul high-rise. She was only 19. She had never even held a boy's hand. Marriage to her meant partnership, not possession. Across the room, her husband sat in a leather chair, legs crossed, powerful, untouchable, already deciding her fate like she was a business transaction he'd closed. Your father signed the contract. My organization needs an heir. Your family needs protection and money. This is how we both get what we need. Her passport was in his safe. Her phone had tracking software she couldn't remove. Her body was no longer her own. It was collateral in a deal she never agreed to. In her pocket, Anima felt the small leather pouch her grandmother slipped into her hand at the airport, something she hadn't opened yet. The old woman's eyes had been urgent, desperate, knowing. As Park Jin-woo stood and walked toward her, each step deliberate and predatory, Anima realized something terrifying. This marriage wasn't about building a life together. It was about control. And if she failed to give him what he wanted, everyone she loved would pay the price. But Anima had one secret, something even her father didn't know, and it could destroy them all. This story is intense. If you're already hooked, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to Laura's Love Stories for more gripping romance stories like this. Comment below where you're watching from. I love seeing our global community. Now, back to the story. 5 days before the men came, Anima Bello turned 19 in her family's modest compound in Lagos. Her younger brother and sister decorated the living room with hand-drawn posters, Future Architect, and Anima the Builder. Her dream rendered in crayon hope. Her mother, Chidinma, made jollof rice and chin-chin with ingredients stretched too thin. Each grain of rice a small miracle of love over poverty. Make a wish, my sunshine, her father said, voice carrying a weight she couldn't identify. University of Lagos. Architecture program. Buildings I design myself. A future I create. She blew out the candles. Her grandmother watched from the corner, hands gripping her walking stick, eyes glistening with something that looked too much like grief. Then came the knock. 4 sharp raps that silenced the laughter. 2 men in dark suits entered like wolves in expensive clothing. They placed a manila envelope on the worn table. Miss Anima Bello, your presence is required in Seoul, South Korea. Your father has entered a binding agreement on your behalf. Inside, passport, visa, one-way ticket, marriage certificate to a man named Park Jin-woo. Baba, what is this? Chief Adebayo Bello couldn't meet her eyes. His hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the table. They were going to kill us all, Anima, the Jade Serpent Triad. They've been circling us for months. I borrowed money I couldn't repay. They showed me pictures of your brother and sister. Which schools they attend, which routes they take home. So you sold me? I secured your survival. His voice cracked. Park Jin-woo is powerful, untouchable. You'll live in luxury, never want for anything. I don't want luxury, Baba. I want my life, my education, my choices. You want to live? He shouted. Because the alternative is your siblings being taken in the night, used, destroyed. The math is simple, Anima. 1 daughter's freedom for 2 children's lives. The room spun. Her mother sobbed into her hands. Her grandmother's knuckles were white on her walking stick. That night, Anima lay between her siblings one last time. Her brother, Chidi, only 12, whispered, "Will you come back?" "I don't know." Her grandmother came in after the children slept. She pressed the leather pouch into Anima's palm. Her aged fingers surprisingly strong. "These are herbs from our village," she whispered in Igbo. "They give you power when men try to take it away. They give you choices when men try to eliminate them. The instructions are inside. Read them only when you're alone. Trust no one, not even the man you'll call husband. Mama Nukwu, what are they for? Her grandmother's eyes were ancient, knowing. For when you need to control what happens inside your own body, for when you need to protect yourself. Remember, child, they can own the papers, but they can never own you, not unless you let them. 23 hours in the air felt like dying in slow motion. Anima watched Nigeria shrink beneath her, then disappear into clouds and ocean. She was leaving behind everything she knew, everyone she loved. At Incheon International Airport, a woman waited with a sign bearing her name. I am Miss Kang. I manage Mr. Park's household and personal affairs. You will address him as Sir or Husband at all times. Never by his first name unless given explicit permission. The woman was cold, efficient, beautiful in a severe way. Her English was perfect, her disdain barely concealed. The drive into Seoul revealed a city of lights and steel, beautiful and suffocating. Skyscrapers pierced the sky like glass daggers. Everything moved fast, too fast. Rules, Miss Kang said without looking at her. Do not leave the residence without permission. Do not contact your family without approval. Do not speak to media. Do not embarrass Mr. Park in any capacity. Do not ask questions about his business. And try not to look so terrified. It's unbecoming of a Park family wife. What exactly is my role? Miss Kang's laugh was sharp, cruel. Incubator, proof of his power and reach, a symbol that Park Jin-woo can acquire anything he desires, even a young African bride. Oh, and mother to his heir, of course. That's your primary function. I'm a human being. You're a contractual obligation that happens to breathe. The sooner you understand that, the easier this will be. The Park residence wasn't a home, it was a fortress. High walls, security cameras every 3 meters, armed guards in dark suits. Inside, everything was minimalist luxury. White marble, floor-to-ceiling windows, abstract art that probably cost more than her father's lifetime earnings. Mr. Park is concluding business. The wedding ceremony is in 2 hours. 2 hours? I just got off a plane. You need to do what you're told. The stylist is waiting. The wedding hanbok was deep crimson and gold, traditional Korean, beautiful in the way a cage can be beautiful. The jade jewelry felt like shackles despite its elegance. Anima stared at her reflection and saw a ghost wearing her face. The door opened. Park Jin-woo entered like he owned not just the room, but the very air inside it. Early 40s, tall, built like violence wrapped in expensive tailoring. His face was sharp angles and cold calculation, eyes dark as winter nights. Silver streaked his temples despite his relative youth, as if stress or cruelty had painted him prematurely. He studied her the way men study art they've purchased, appraising value, noting flaws. You're younger than I expected. My father said I was 22. Your father says whatever serves his survival. Something flickered in his eyes. Not quite amusement, not quite contempt. How old are you really? 19. Silence stretched. He moved behind her and she stiffened. From a velvet box he produced a necklace. Diamonds and black pearls, cold and heavy. His hands were efficient as he fastened it around her throat. Clinical, not quite touching her skin but close enough that she felt his heat. This belonged to my grandmother. Every Park wife wears it. You'll wear it tonight and at every public event. It marks you as mine. Do I have a choice? His eyes met hers in the mirror. No, neither of us do. I need an heir. You need your family alive. We both do what's necessary. That's not marriage. That's slavery. Call it what you want. The contract is signed. The money is transferred. You're mine for the next 6 months minimum. After you give me a child, we can renegotiate. He moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I don't enjoy forcing women. but my organization requires certain assurances. A son secures my position. Your cooperation secures your family's safety. Simple transaction. I'm not a transaction, I'm a person. In my world, Miss Bello, everyone is a transaction. The sooner you accept that, the less you'll suffer. If you're feeling the intensity of Anima's situation, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Now let's see what happens next. The wedding was traditional Korean, held in a private room with maybe 20 people present. Anima understood nothing. Not the words, not the rituals, not the significance of each bow and gesture. She was a prop in a play performed in a language she didn't speak. When it came time to drink from the ceremonial cup, Park Jin-woo's hand was steady. Hers trembled so badly she nearly spilled it. The officiant pronounced them married. Jin-woo turned to her, and for a moment she thought he would kiss her. Instead, he pressed his lips to her forehead, cold, brief, dismissive, like one might kiss a child, or a possession. Then he left. Anima stood alone in her wedding clothes, listening to her new reality settle like snow that would never melt. The penthouse had 12 rooms and felt like a prison. Anima wandered, finding locked doors, cameras in every corner, windows that didn't open. Miss Kang appeared and disappeared like a ghost, always watching, always judging. Jin-woo was mostly absent. When he was home, he barely acknowledged her beyond cold civilities at breakfast. He read newspapers in Korean, answered phone calls in languages she couldn't identify, and disappeared into his study for hours. At night, she heard him playing piano, the same haunting melody repeating like a prayer or a curse. On the fourth night, Miss Kang appeared at her door with a bottle of pills. Prenatal vitamins. You'll take one every morning with breakfast. I'm not pregnant. Not yet. But Mr. Park is a man who plans ahead. He'll begin trying in 3 days once you've adjusted to the time difference. He prefers his wife to be well rested for conception. The clinical nature of it made Anima's stomach turn. He's going to force me? Force is such an ugly word. You signed a contract. He's simply fulfilling the terms. I suggest you don't resist. Mr. Park doesn't like complications. That night, Anima finally opened her grandmother's pouch. Inside were dried herbs, small brown seeds, and a folded paper with instructions in English. My precious child, these herbs are ancient knowledge. They do not prevent pregnancy, but they give you control. Mixed in tea, they regulate your cycle, mask your fertile days, create uncertainty in timing. Men cannot force what they cannot track. Use them wisely. Use them to survive. Mama Nukwu. Anima stared at the herbs. They were power in her pocket. Control in a situation designed to strip her of all control. She hid them carefully. He came to her room on the 7th night. Anima was reading when the door opened without knocking. Jin-woo stood in the doorway in dark silk pajamas, his expression unreadable. It's time. Her heart hammered. Time for what? Don't play naive. You know why you're here. He moved into the room, closing the door behind him. The contract specifies consummation and regular attempts at conception. I've given you a week to adjust. That week is over. I'm not ready. Ready is irrelevant. We have an agreement. An agreement I never made. My father sold me. I never consented to any of this. He stopped, something flickering in his eyes. Your father accepted 500 million won and protection from the Jade Serpent Triad. In exchange, you provide me with an heir. Those are the terms. I'm a human being, not a broodmare. In my world, you're both. He moved closer, and she backed against the wall. I don't enjoy this any more than you do, but I need a son to secure my position in the organization. My enemies circle like sharks. A legitimate heir stabilizes everything. Find someone else. There is no one else. The contract is binding. Your family's safety depends on your cooperation. His voice dropped. I can make this pleasant or unpleasant. The choice is yours. Tears burned her eyes. Please, please don't do this. For a moment, just a moment, something almost human crossed his face. Then it was gone, replaced by cold determination. I'll give you one more night. Tomorrow, no more delays. Understand? She nodded, unable to speak. He left, and Anima collapsed onto the bed, shaking. That night, she brewed her grandmother's herbs into tea and drank every drop. The next morning, Anima woke before dawn. She couldn't breathe in that apartment, all glass and marble and suffocating luxury. She needed air, needed to move, needed to feel human. She found the kitchen and began to cook. Jollof rice, fried plantains, pepper soup with goat meat she found in the enormous freezer. Familiar smells wrapped around her like her mother's embrace. For the first time since arriving, she felt almost like herself. She was humming an old Igbo song her grandmother taught her when she felt eyes on her. Jinwoo stood in the doorway in rumpled sleep clothes, hair disheveled, feet bare. Without his armor of expensive suits, he looked younger, almost vulnerable. What is that song? She stiffened. A lullaby. My grandmother sang it. It's beautiful. He moved into the kitchen, drawn by the smells. What are you making? Food from home? I couldn't sleep. He said nothing, just watched her cook. The silence stretched, but it felt different than before. Less hostile. More human. My mother used to cook every morning, he said finally, before she died. The smell of soy sauce and ginger would wake me. I'd come downstairs and she'd be singing. Off-key, terrible, but it meant home. Safety. His jaw tightened. I haven't thought about that in years. How did she die? Killed. By my father's enemies. I was 16. She was caught in crossfire meant for him. After that, he taught me that love is weakness, that attachments are liabilities, that the only way to survive in this world is to never care about anything more than power. Anima turned off the stove. That's a terrible way to live. It's the only way to survive in my world. Then maybe your world is the problem. His eyes met hers, and for the first time she saw something crack in his armor. Pain, loneliness, exhaustion. I don't know how to do this differently, he admitted quietly. This, he gestured between them. Arrangement. I know it's cruel. I know you're terrified, but I don't know another way. My position requires an heir. My enemies use family as weapons. This is the only solution I could find. The only solution? Or the easiest? He flinched. Maybe both. Anima plated the food and slid it across the counter. Eat. Then tell me the truth. Who are you really afraid of? Your enemies? Or yourself? He stared at the food, then at her. Then, to her surprise, he sat and picked up the fork. They ate in silence as dawn broke over Seoul. Over the next 2 weeks, something shifted. Jinwoo didn't come to her room at night. Instead, he came to the kitchen in the mornings, drawn by the smell of her cooking. They talked. Cautiously at first, then more openly. She learned he'd inherited the organization at 25 when his father was assassinated, that he'd spent 15 years building walls, eliminating threats, becoming the monster everyone feared because it was the only way to survive. I had a younger sister once, he told her one morning. Mia. She was sweet, gentle, everything I wasn't. She wanted to be a painter. What happened to her? His hands tightened on his coffee cup. She fell in love with the wrong man, someone from a rival organization. I told her to end it. She refused. Said love was worth the risk. His voice cracked. They killed her to send me a message, cut her throat and left her in my office. She was 23. Jinwoo. After that, I swore I'd never let anyone close again. Love is a knife people use to gut you. Caring is a weakness that gets people killed. So I stopped. I became what they all feared. Ruthless, cold, untouchable, and lonely. He looked at her sharply. Loneliness is better than grief. Is it? Or is it just grief that never ends? The question hung between them. That afternoon, Miss Kang cornered Anima in the hallway. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm just cooking breakfast. You're making him human again. That's dangerous. For him, and for you. Mr. Park's enemies watch for weakness. If they see he cares about you, you become a target. The safest thing for both of you is to remain exactly what the contract says. Business arrangement. Maybe I don't want to be safe. Maybe I want to be human. Miss Kang's expression softened slightly, the first crack in her armor. Then you're braver than I am. Or more foolish. I haven't decided which. It happened on a Tuesday night without warning. Anima was reading when the first window exploded. Glass rained down like deadly snow. Gunfire erupted. Sharp, terrifying, real. Her door burst open. Jinwoo grabbed her arm, gun in his other hand, blood streaking his white shirt. Move, now. He pulled her through chaos. His security team fought in the hallways. Bodies fell. Smoke filled the air. Anima's ears rang from gunshots. They reached a hidden panic room behind a false wall. Jinwoo shoved her inside, then followed, sealing the steel door behind them. What's happening? Jade Serpent Triad, they're making a move. He was breathing hard, checking his gun's magazine. Blood dripped from his shoulder. You're hurt. It's nothing. You're bleeding through your shirt. That's not nothing. Anima moved toward him. Do you have a medical kit in here? He gestured to a cabinet. She retrieved it, her hands surprisingly steady despite the terror coursing through her veins. Sit down, let me see. I'm fine. Sit down. Something in her voice made him obey. She cut away his bloody shirt, revealing a deep gash across his shoulder. Not a bullet wound, but bad enough. This needs stitches. Can you do it? I was supposed to study architecture, but my grandmother taught me basic first aid. Extended family in a village with no hospital. You learn to stitch wounds and set bones. She worked in focused silence, cleaning the wound, her hands steady and sure. He watched her, something shifting in his expression. You're good at this. I'm good at many things. I was good at mathematics, at drawing, at debate. I had a 3.9 GPA. I won a scholarship to university. I was going to design buildings that would stand for centuries. Her hands trembled slightly. But I'll never know what I could have become, will I? Because I'm here instead. His hand caught hers. Anima, Gunfire echoed above them. The lights flickered. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For all of this. For taking your future. For turning you into currency in a transaction you never agreed to. Sorry doesn't give me back my life. I know. But her hands were gentle as she finished bandaging him. And when more gunfire erupted and he pulled her close, she didn't resist. They sat in the darkness of the panic room, listening to violence rage above them. Two people trapped in a nightmare. Neither had chosen. Jinwoo's team secured the building by dawn. 7 attackers dead. 3 of his men wounded. The apartment was destroyed. Windows shattered. Walls riddled with bullets. Blood on marble floors. We're leaving, Jinwoo said. I have a safe house in Jeju Island. We'll go there until I eliminate this threat. Within hours, they were on a private plane. The safe house was a traditional hanok tucked into mountains overlooking the sea. Beautiful, isolated, quiet. So different from the glass tower in Seoul. Why did you protect me? Anima asked their first night there. You could have left me, saved yourself. Jinwoo stared into the fireplace. Because I know what it's like to lose someone. My mother. My sister. Everyone I've ever cared about has been taken from me. When those bullets started flying, all I could think was, not again, not her too. But I'm just a contract to you. Are you? He turned to face her. If you were just a contract, I wouldn't dream about your laugh. I wouldn't find myself watching you cook just to see you happy. I wouldn't be terrified every time you're out of my sight. Jinwoo? I know. I'm the monster who bought you, who threatened your family, who planned to use you like an object. I know what I am. But being around you, hearing you sing, watching you stand up to me, seeing you stitch my wounds while bombs went off, you make me remember there's more than survival, more than power and fear. You make me remember being human. You're still human, broken and scarred, but human. Am I? I've done terrible things, Anima, killed people, destroyed lives. Your father came to me because I'm the devil he knew. What kind of human does that make me? She moved closer. The kind who's still capable of change. If you weren't, you wouldn't be questioning yourself. He laughed bitterly. Change. Do you know what my second in command told me before we left Seoul? That showing weakness by caring about you would get us both killed. That the safest thing for everyone is to treat you exactly as the contract specifies, as a means to an end. What did you tell him? That maybe it's time to stop being safe. Maybe it's time to try being human again, even if it destroys me. The ocean crashed against rocks below. Stars filled the sky above them. I want to give you a choice, Jinwoo said. I'll arrange your passage back to Lagos. I'll pay your father's remaining debts. No strings. I'll fund your university education anywhere you want. You'll be free of me, free of this contract, free to become the architect you were meant to be. And if I stay, then we start over. No ultimatums, no threats, no 6-month deadline, just two people trying to figure out what we could become together. But it has to be your choice. Freely made. No coercion. Anima pulled out her grandmother's pouch. She'd been using the herbs, protecting herself, maintaining control. She could leave, start over, reclaim her stolen future. But she looked at Jinwoo, broken, lonely, desperately trying to be better, and wondered if running was really the answer. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need. That night, Anima stared at the herbs and instructions. Control, safety, protection. Everything her grandmother wanted for her. But also isolation. Walls. More prisons. Just ones of her own making. She hid them again, unopened. 3 days into their stay, Jinwoo received a call. He listened intently, his expression darkening. What is it? Anima asked. The attack wasn't ordered by Jade Serpent Triad leadership. It was a rogue faction. But there's more. Someone inside my organization has been feeding them information. Someone close. Miss Kang? He shook his head. She's been with me for 10 years. Absolutely loyal. But someone knew our security protocols, knew when my guards changed shifts. Someone wanted both of us dead. Over the next week, Jinwoo worked constantly. Phone calls, video conferences, coordination with his security team. Anima watched him transform from the vulnerable man in the kitchen to the cold strategist everyone feared. But at night, he was different. They talked for hours about everything. Her childhood in Lagos, his in Seoul, dreams they'd abandoned, fears they carried. Why architecture? He asked one evening. Because buildings outlast people. Because you can create something beautiful and functional that serves others. Because I wanted to build something that mattered. You still can. Can I? Even if I stay with you. Even if we try this. I'm still the African wife of a Korean crime boss. Nobody will take me seriously. Then we'll change that. I'll fund a foundation. You can design community centers, schools, hospitals, buildings that matter. I have the money. You have the vision. We build something that outlasts both of us. She stared at him. You'd do that? I'd do anything to see you happy. Anything to make up for what I've taken from you. That night, when he kissed her, it was soft, tentative, asking permission. When she kissed back, it was a choice. Maybe the first real choice she'd made since arriving in Korea. If this story is keeping you hooked, hit that like button and subscribe to Love and Tension for more intense romance. Comment your thoughts below. Now let's continue. The evidence came from an unexpected source. Park Jin-woo's head of security, a man named Kwon. Sir, you need to see this. Video footage showed someone entering Jin-woo's private office in Seoul. The timestamp was 2 days before the attack. The person accessed his computer, downloaded files, then left. The person was Miss Kang. No, Jin-woo said. That's impossible. She's been loyal for 10 years. Since your father brought her in from an orphanage. Since she developed an obsessive attachment to him and, after his death, to you. She sees your African wife as competition for your attention. She's been planning this for months. They found her journals in a hidden apartment, page after page of obsessive devotion to Jin-woo, hatred toward Anima, plans to eliminate the foreign interloper and position herself as his true partner. She orchestrated the attack to kill Anima and make you dependent on her again, Kwon explained. She's been feeding information to your enemies for months, destabilizing your position, creating chaos, all to make herself indispensable. Jin-woo looked destroyed. I trusted her completely. That's what she counted on. The arrest was swift. Miss Kang didn't resist. As they led her away, she looked at Anima with pure hatred. He'll never truly love you. You're just his rebellion. His way of pretending he's not his father. But he is. Eventually. He'll use you up like everything else. Anima met her gaze steadily. Maybe. But at least I'll have chosen to stay. What did you choose, except obsession and murder? They returned to Seoul 3 weeks later. The penthouse was repaired. New windows, new furniture. But it felt different. Lighter somehow. I want to dismantle part of the organization, Jin-woo announced at a meeting with his leadership. The protection rackets, the loan operations, the things that hurt vulnerable people. We'll focus on legitimate business, import, export, real estate development, security consulting. You'll lose half your power, one man objected. Good. Power built on suffering isn't worth having. The other families will see it as weakness. Then let them try me. I'm done building empires on broken people. It cost him. Allies became enemies. His territory shrank, but he rebuilt. Slowly, carefully, legitimately. Money laundering became charitable foundations. Protection rackets became actual security services. He poured millions into community development in both Korea and Nigeria. Anima enrolled in Seoul National University Architecture Program. Oldest in her cohort, only African. Also, within a semester, top of her class. How does it feel? Jin-woo asked, watching her draft blueprints at their dining table. Like reclaiming stolen time, like becoming who I was supposed to be. They painted the penthouse in colors she chose. Warm oranges and deep blues, African textiles alongside Korean art. 2 worlds blending. They weren't perfect. Arguments erupted about his past, her fears, the foundation of coercion their relationship was built on. Days when old wounds ached. But they kept choosing each other. 18 months after her forced departure, Anima returned to Lagos. Jin-woo came with her. Her family's compound looked the same but felt different. Her siblings had grown. Chidi was taller, more confident. Her sister Ngozi was in secondary school now. Her mother wept and held her for long minutes. My baby. My sunshine. Her father stood apart, shame written across his face. Baba. Chief Adebayo looked older, grayer, diminished. Anima. His voice broke. I'm sorry. Every day, I'm sorry. I thought I was saving us. I thought. You sold me to save them, Anima interrupted, gesturing to her siblings. The math was brutal, but I understand it now. 1 daughter's freedom for 2 children's lives. Can you forgive me? Anima was quiet for a long time. Jin-woo stood behind her. Present, but letting her navigate this herself. I can't forgive you, she said finally. Not completely. Maybe never fully. But I understand why. And I don't hate you anymore. That's the best I can offer. Her father nodded, tears streaming. It's more than I deserve. They stayed 2 weeks. Anima showed Jinwoo her old neighborhood, her school, the places that made her. He was respectful, curious, genuinely interested. He met her grandmother, who studied him with ancient eyes. You're the man who bought my granddaughter. Yes, ma'am. And now? Now I'm the man trying to deserve her choosing to stay. Mama Nukwu gripped his wrist with surprising strength. My granddaughter is brilliant, fierce, worthy of empires. You hurt her? There's nowhere my prayers won't find you, understood? Yes, ma'am. She smiled then, releasing him. Good. You're learning. Maybe there's hope for you yet? They were back in Seoul when Anima realized she was late. 5 days. Then 7. Then 10. She took the test in secret. 2 lines. Positive. Her hands trembled as she stared at it. Pregnant. The thing Jinwoo had demanded. The thing the contract specified. The thing she'd been using her grandmother's herbs to prevent or at least control. Except she hadn't used them in months. She'd stopped after Jeju Island. After kissing him. After choosing to stay. The pregnancy wasn't forced. It was the result of choices they'd both made freely. But terror flooded her anyway. Because this was real now. Permanent. A child that would bind them forever. She sat with the secret for 3 days, trying to decide how she felt. Part of her was terrified. She was barely 21, still in university, building a life. Part of her was angry that even though the choice was hers, it still felt like fulfilling the original contract's terms. But part of her, a growing part, felt something else. Hope, possibility, the chance to build a family different from the broken ones they'd both come from. Jinwoo found her sitting in their bedroom, staring at the positive test. Anima? He moved toward her carefully. What's wrong? She held up the test. He froze. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, carefully, he sat beside her. How do you feel about it? I don't know. Terrified? Angry? Hopeful? All of it at once. Do you want to keep it? She looked at him sharply. What? I'm asking what you want, not what the contract said, not what I initially demanded. What do you, Anima Bello, want for your life right now? Tears burned her eyes. You'd really let me choose? Even after everything? It's your body, your life, your future. I won't force you into anything ever again, I swear it. She was quiet for a long time. I think I want this. Not because of contracts or obligations, but because it's ours. Something we created together after everything. A chance to break the cycles we were born into. His hands trembled as he pulled her close. Are you sure? No. But I'm choosing it anyway. They held each other as Seoul glittered outside their windows. 2 broken people trying to build something whole. Anima graduated university 7 months pregnant, her thesis on community-centered architecture in post-conflict zones, earning highest honors. Jinwoo sat in the audience, pride written across his face. A month later, she gave birth to a daughter. They named her Amara Mia Park. Amara for Anima's mother, Mia for Jinwoo's lost sister. A bridge between 2 families, 2 continents, 2 broken bloodlines trying to heal. Jinwoo held his daughter with trembling hands, tears streaming down his face. She's perfect. She's ours, Anima corrected. Built from choices, not contracts. They launched the Amara Foundation 6 months later. Architectural firm and humanitarian continue, 0850 organization combined. They designed schools in Lagos, community centers in Seoul, hospitals in rural Nigeria, housing for trafficking survivors in Korea. Buildings that served, that healed, that mattered. Anima split time between Seoul and Lagos, belonging fully to neither and both. Jinwoo transitioned completely out of criminal operations. His former associates called him weak. He called himself free. Do you ever regret it? Anima asked one night, watching him play with Amara. Everything you gave up? I gave up power built on suffering. I gained a family built on choice. That's not sacrifice. That's evolution. If you've made it this far in the journey, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Now let's see how this story ends. 2 years after Amara's birth, a letter arrived. From the Jade Serpent Triad leadership. They want a meeting, Jinwoo said, reading the message. They claim they have information about your father's original debt, about the real circumstances of the contract. What do you mean, real circumstances? I don't know. But they're offering to trade information for a business alliance. Legitimate operations only. They met in neutral territory, a restaurant in Hong Kong. The triad representative was a woman in her 60s, elegant and terrifying. Mr. Park, Mrs. Park, thank you for coming. What information do you have? Jinwoo asked. The woman slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents, photographs, bank transfers. Your father's debt to us was manufactured, she said. By Miss Kang. She knew you wanted an heir but refused traditional arrangements. She knew Chief Bello had an exceptional daughter. She created a situation that forced both men into a corner, ensuring you'd acquire Anima through contract rather than courtship. Anima's blood ran cold. She orchestrated everything? Not just that. The scholarship Anima won to university? Miss Kang had it revoked 3 days before the contract signing. Anima never knew because the notification went to her father, who was already panicking about the manufactured debt. No, Anima whispered. My scholarship, I earned that. You did, and it was stolen from you. Miss Kang wanted to ensure you had no alternatives, that you were desperate, trapped, forced into the contract. She hoped that by engineering your marriage she'd maintain control over Jinwoo through you. Jinwoo's hands were shaking with rage. Where is she now? Still in prison. But her network continued operating after her arrest. We've dismantled it. We're offering you this information as a gesture. We prefer your legitimate operations to the chaos her obsession created. They left the meeting in silence. That night, Anima stood on their balcony, watching Hong Kong's lights blur through tears. I lost everything because of one woman's obsession. My education, my choices, my future. All stolen because she was obsessed with controlling you. Jinwoo held her from behind. I'm so sorry. If I'd known. You didn't know. Neither of us did. We were both her victims. Anima turned to face him. But we also both survived her. We built something good from her poison. She wanted to control our lives, but we took control back. She lost. We won. Did we? You still lost years you can never get back. Yes. But I also gained things I never expected. A daughter. A purpose. A partner who learned to choose love over power. She touched his face. I'm not grateful for how we started, but I'm grateful for where we are now. 5 years after arriving in Seoul, Anima wrote a letter to her 19-year-old self. Dear Anima, right now you're terrified. You're standing in a marble bathroom, listening to a man tell you that your body is no longer your own. You think your life is over. It's not. It's just beginning in a way you can't imagine. The next years will be brutal. You'll face coercion, manipulation, violence, betrayal. You'll discover that the contract that bound you was built on lies and obsession. You'll learn that people you trust have stolen from you, but you'll also discover your own strength. You'll learn to take control when men try to eliminate your choices. You'll find your voice when they try to silence you. You'll become the architect you always dreamed of being, just through a path you never expected. The man who bought you will become the man who learns to deserve you. It won't be easy. There will be arguments, setbacks, moments when old wounds reopen, but you'll build something real together, a family, a foundation, a future based on choices rather than contracts. You'll have a daughter who will never know the fear you felt. She'll grow up with both her parents, in 2 countries, speaking 3 languages, designing buildings before she's 10. She'll be fierce and free because you fought to give her what was stolen from you. I can't tell you it was worth it. That would dishonest. You shouldn't have had to fight for the freedom that was always yours. But I can tell you that you survive. You thrive. You transform. The herbs Mama Nukwu gave you will sit unused eventually. Not because you'll need them, but because you'll choose not to. That choice, that agency, will be your victory. 5 years from now, you'll be sitting in your architecture firm's Lagos office, your daughter drawing on the floor, your husband reviewing foundation proposals. And you'll realize you're happy, despite everything, because of everything, in ways that surprise you. The thunder outside your window right now feels like the end of the world, but storms pass. And sometimes, in the aftermath, we build something stronger than what the storm destroyed. You'll be okay. More than okay. You'll be extraordinary. Love, yourself, at 24 to 6 years later. Anima Park stood in front of the completed Lagos Community Center. 5 stories of sustainable architecture, designed to withstand floods and power outages, beautiful and functional. Her design, her vision, her legacy. Jinwoo stood beside her, holding Amara's hand. Their daughter was 5 now, brilliant and fierce, already sketching buildings in her notebooks. Mama, can I design the next one? Amara asked. We'll design it together. Chief Adebayo stood in the back of the crowd, frail but present. He'd never fully earned forgiveness, but he'd stopped asking for it. Instead, he showed up. To graduations, building dedications, family dinners. Trying to be the grandfather he'd failed to be as a father. Mama Nukwu, ancient and knowing, gripped Anima's hand. You did it, child. Took the prison they built and made it a palace. We did it, Anima corrected. All of us, the ones who survived, the ones who chose to heal. That night, in their Lagos house, Anima found Jinwoo on the balcony. What are you thinking about? She asked. About how 6 years ago, I was the man who said, I won't stop until my child is inside you. About how monstrous that was. About how I thought I was untouchable, and you taught me I was just human. And now? He pulled her close. Now I'm the man who says, I won't stop until you're happy, until you've achieved every dream, until you know you're loved freely, completely, without conditions. Better speech. Better man. Because of you. They stood together, watching Lagos light up below them. 2 people who'd started as buyer and purchased, captor and captive, monster and victim. Now partners, parents, architects of their own future. The contract that bound them had been shredded years ago. The love they'd built was written in different ink entirely. Chosen, earned, real. Amara appeared at the door. Mama? Papa? Can we build something tomorrow? They looked at each other and smiled. Yes, they said together. We can build anything. The end. If you made it to the end of Anima and Jinwoo's journey, thank you for being here. Their story reminds us that healing is complex, that people can change, that love built on choice is stronger than anything forced. Hit subscribe to Laura's Love Stories for more stories that challenge you, move you, and keep you thinking long after they end. Comment below. What did you think of their journey? Do you believe in second chances? Where are you watching from? Remember, you are more than what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. And if you want to see more stories like this, let me know. Your engagement helps us create more content that matters. Until next time, choose yourself, choose healing, choose growth.